Welcome to another one of Summit Pointe's Crisis Survival Skills webinars. My name is Carolyn. I'm one of the clinicians at Summit Pointe. With me is my fabulous co-leader of awesome.
I'm Henrietta, peer support at Summit Pointe.
So today we are going to teach you another set of skills that can help with a crisis. This set of strategies is really under one big umbrella term of radical acceptance. So radical acceptance, at its base definition, is the ability to acknowledge the reality without adding additional judgments to it.
Well, that sounds easy.
It sounds easy when we like the reality, but I know we all have experienced realities we don't like.
Like now?
Yes, like now on home quarantine, for example. This is a great radical acceptance moment. So one of the first things to do with radical acceptance is, rather than aiming for the big overarching must accept the reality, is knowing how to first start in the small steps that will turn your mind and get you ready to be in the acceptance mindset.
Now that sounds hard.
Well, there are two things that help get to that acceptance mindset. And some people do them both. Some people are better at one than the other. Some find one more helpful than the other. But here they are. The first one is learning to be mindful of your thoughts. So if you're someone whose brain is full of words and pictures and dialogue, learning to be mindful of your thoughts can be really helpful.
So does that mean letting them calm without pushing them away?
Exactly. The first step is just learning to be observant of them, letting them be present without adding to them, without tuning in to too much of why you're thinking what you're thinking. And at some point, backing up and even looking at being curious around, why am I thinking that now?
Okay. That sounds a little achievable.
A little achievable. Also keeping in mind that you are not your thoughts. Just because you have a thought, and believe me, I think often about, oh, how much I want to strangle my husband when he once again leaves his socks on the bathroom floor. That's just a thought. It's just a thought and a reaction. And I know why it's there. I'm not really going to do it. We all have thoughts, and they're just that.
So then we really should be conscious of when we're starting to beat ourselves up for these thoughts.
Absolutely. And the goal is not to block those thoughts. So it's not saying, no, I can never have a negative thought again. But it's also just being willing to let them blow through. Like, oh, there's one of those judgmental thoughts about something I just said or did. And letting them go through. Versus trying to either block them, suppress them, or sometimes hold on to them. We want to kind of be open to our thoughts like a wind chime. The wind just blows through and makes it ring.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
My wind chimes are going up doing that right now.
Yeah, and I'm noticing a judgmental thought right now with my misspell on willing-handed. But that's all right. We'll let it blow through.
All right.
So
what?
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what is willing hand?
So willing hands and half smiling are ways you can use your own body physiology to steer your brain toward being in a mindful set. Half smiling involves focusing on the muscles in your face and relaxing them, keeping your teeth slightly apart, and then just allowing the corners of your mouth to slightly upturn. I've had some people say it's like having that little smirk, like the Mona Lisa. The relaxation of your facial muscles and that slight upturn sends a message to your brain that all is well, you can relax.
So can I do this without other people knowing what I'm doing?
Absolutely, because no one has ever said, I will now put on half smile. They've just kind of done it.
Okay.
Willing hands is, instead of keeping your fists clenched, opening them up. There's even more value of having your palms open to the sky. For some reason, that sends a message that we are not closed in, that we are in a state of control and relaxation, more than turning them down. So anytime you're feeling tense, just kind of opening your palms up. If you're sitting, having them palms up on your lap, or at least just not clenched in fists, is very helpful.
Okay, so now I've seen, while you're talking, I'm actually following, and it seems like there's a little heaviness that went away, because it's like I can breathe a little bit easier because I was anxious about doing this. Is that what you're talking about?
And that is exactly that first step into willing radical acceptance, and how you begin to notice it. I kind of feel like it's an unblocking it, like that heaviness going away.
Okay.
So this brings us to knowing two concepts, willingness and willfulness. Because we are always, this is a very normal thing, doing battle with willingness and willfulness. Willingness is the ability to say, I'm seeing things clearly, I know all the aspects of reality, I have limits on what I can control, and I can do what I need in the moment. On the other hand, willfulness is putting judgments on, like, this shouldn't be that way, and trying to force your control onto things that maybe aren't yours. It can be getting caught up in blaming and judging and just, I'm not going to do it because it shouldn't be. And those things are always going to do battle, but when we can turn our head toward willingness and away from willfulness, we're more able to radically accept.
So is that like paying a bill at the end of the month? I may not like to give Semco my money, but I also need hot showers, so I pay it anyways.
Exactly. Willfulness is knowing we don't have to, or willingness is knowing we don't have to like something to do it. It is the acceptance of it is what it is.
So again, that sounds real simple. Mm-hmm. But it's not always that simple.
Absolutely.
Because writing out the text to Semco,
it absolutely doesn't always get to be that simple, especially when there's variations, and especially when there's a lot of values and beliefs and thoughts about the reality and like or not liking of it.
So do other emotions help play with the ability to do radical acceptance? I know right now I have a lot of fear and anxiety, and that's not always easy to say it is what it is.
Absolutely, which is why turning of the mind is like the midway point to full acceptance. And it is that idea of you're in the moment choosing to take this reality for this small period of time. And you're going to be aware when that willful stance may come back, but have a reason why turning your mind back to being willing is valuable.
So do I only have to do it once and then everything's fine?
Nope. The hard part about radical acceptance is often we have to do it over and over and over and over and over, and sometimes in a very quick period of time. I remember when I gave up smoking, one of the first things that happens when you give something up is your brain goes, do it more. And I had to keep going back to, nope, I'm just going to go this next hour without a cigarette because I like the way that not smoking makes me feel, and I can give this up and I have more control over my behavior. And eventually, by doing that over and over and over, that little urge came around less often.
So that's where not beating ourselves up play even more.
Exactly.
Because then I don't think I'm doing something wrong, or that there's something wrong with me because it didn't work.
Exactly. It is that idea of knowing this is a battle we're all going to struggle with, and there'll be a moment, and now, gosh, 30 some years later, I still have moments where I'm like, whew, I could use a cigarette. But it's just a thought. And
that I do understand.
Mhm. Turning your mind also helps you open yourself up to other options. You know, when we live in a black and white kind of mindset, we see only one option, the black and the white. Turning the mind opens up everything in between. And so maybe it is not about being completely black or completely white, but finding something in the middle, a middle path, so to speak.
So, kind of confused. Does that mean if I see somebody speeding down my road and I get automatically angry because they're ignorant, this is a residential area, you can't do that. But then taking that step back and saying, oh, maybe they have a medical emergency and are trying to get to the fire station a block away, and that's why they're doing it.
Exactly, because that helps us step out of the anger that's going to push us toward willfulness to look at there could be a reason why this behavior makes sense to that person in this time, and I'm just without that information.
Okay, so it's taking myself out of the situation and kind of like watching it.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Well, that makes a little more sense.
so there are some key reasons why radical acceptance is helpful. Because there are lots of situations we can't control, like we can't control other drivers and how fast they choose to go. Sure, we have speed limits. Sure, we have agreed as a social contract to follow it, and there's definitely law enforcement. But we really can't control will someone abide by that. Then there are those intense emotions that can drive ineffective behavior. I know plenty of road rage people who that anger drives them to follow that person, write nasty emails about where they are and what they've done. And in the end, that may not really change the situation at all. That may just bring on a never-ending amount of anger. So the key thing with acceptance is knowing we are not giving approval and we are not expecting ourselves to be at a place of happiness. It is still okay to be annoyed and a little angry with someone who's speeding through a residential section. It makes sense. But you don't want to have every moment of your life dictated by that intense rage.
So it's kind of like walking away from a confrontation.
It can be when you know you've hit that point of, oh, I'm going to go down that road of willfulness and I'm going to cuss this person out, or I'm going to say something and I'm going to regret it. It can be taking that step, reacting with what is needed.
So then radical acceptance speaks to the strength we carry inside, not a weakness, maybe?
Absolutely. Because I think we sell ourselves short. We are accepting machines a lot of times, and it is drawing that strength. I like what you just said there.
Okay, because I could see where I would easily say it's me being weak, or, you know, there's something wrong with me, or I'm not like, you know, one of my siblings, and start following that other path.
And absolutely learning those key thoughts like, I'm not like other people. Well, of course you're not, because you're a unique person. But that doesn't mean it has to start you down that road of willfulness.
Okay.
And having that moment where you go, okay, that's that moment. I know I'm going to go down willfulness. How am I going to turn my mind back to being accepting?
Okay. So I can do this.
Yeah.
And am I going to get it perfect the first time?
Nope. Radical acceptance takes a lot of practice and a lot of work, and sometimes starting with the small things like someone ate my last brownie. okay, I can accept that there are other sugar things to eat. I'm not going to starve. Can be the place to start.
Okay. Okay, I can do this.
All right. And I hope we have helped whoever is watching this also feel that confidence in doing this.
I do too, because I know it's scary.
It is very scary. So, all right, look forward to seeing everyone next time.